My name is Miranda Martin and I'm a partner in Rix & Kay's employment team. Most people think that restrictive covenants in employment contracts are unenforceable and are a waste of time. That's not true, provided that they're well drafted. The basic principle is that restrictive covenants will only be enforceable if they are only as wide as is necessary to protect the employer's legitimate business interests. If there's any ambiguity or lack of clarity in the wording, then they will fail. It's not a good idea to buy restrictive covenants off the peg. You really have to think about drafting restrictive covenants with your business in mind and think very carefully about what you're trying to protect. In addition to your restrictive covenants, you should have a well-drafted confidentiality clause. It's not enough just to say that you want to protect confidential information. If you're going to have a good chance of enforcing this clause, you need to spell out what you consider to be confidential information. The covenants themselves should deal with the thought of your employees working for competitors, dealing with your clients and soliciting their business after they leave you. You also need to think about what would happen if any of your senior employees took other employees with them when they left. You might also want to place restrictions on employees' use of social media. Not only could they breach confidentiality, but they could also cause data protection issues. When they leave, they could use sites such as LinkedIn to solicit your customers or clients. You do need to think very carefully when drafting your covenants. The first thing to think about is geographical restrictions. Is it necessary or appropriate? With some businesses, it may be very important. With others, if you're dealing with clients and customers all over the world, it may not be so relevant. You need to also think about length of restriction. In some businesses, employees will do a lot of damage in the first 3 months after they leave you. With others, it could be a year after they leave you when they're going to do the most damage. An example of this is in the insurance industry, when people renew insurance on an annual basis. So in that case, a year's restriction might be reasonable, but in another business, such as a sales environment, 3 or 6 months might be more appropriate. The last thing to consider is the seniority of your employee. You do not want a one-size-fits-all restrictive covenant for everybody working for you. Senior employees can do a lot more damage for a much longer period of time. A junior employee might not need restrictive covenants at all unless they have access to your clients or confidential information.